Hello, folks. I'm Joe Wesley of J&L Creative Solutions, and today's program is Are you prepared to take the hot seat challenge to discover a part of your secret sauce, leading to enhanced business success? My guest today is,
Luciana Salanitri.
okay, thank you. For those who are new to us, thank you for joining. For those who have come back, thank you even more for wanting to hear more about what we do, how we do. For the newbies in the group, the concept here is everybody has a unique flavor, a unique value that nobody else can lay claim to. And I call that your secret sauce. It's not what you do, because people can copy what you do, they can mimic what you do, but they can't fake who you are. And I helped discover that in this 30-minute session by asking my guests at some point, and I'll be asking Luciana at that point, at some point also, what's your favorite pastime? Because it goes to your passion, as opposed to tell me about yourself. Well, I'm in my third marriage. I've bought and sold 5 businesses. I've got 8 grandkids. Yeah. But it does nothing to share with us who you are, the person. So then we do that for the first 2/3 of the program. I ask different questions to get a flavor, an image of this person, my guest, Luciana, in this entrance. Sorry for that, in this instance. And then I will walk into her business and with her help sharing with us what she's doing. And our intent is that I can discover something about her she's yet to discover for herself. And again, her secret sauce that will allow you in the audience to say, hey, this is the person I'd like to have for my commercial or business needs, be it a product or service. So enough rambling in that direction. I'm going to ask you, so Luciana, what's your favorite pastime?
My favorite one is cooking.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, when did you start doing your? Now, let me say this differently. Excuse me. I was in a single parent household, and I was the oldest person, so I had to do cooking. It was never a passion of mine. So how did that become a passion for you?
Well, it's funny because my mom doesn't like to cook, and my dad used to do it like a lot. And my brother and I, we both love cooking. So
Okay.
we don't know how this happened, but I am the oldest, as you said.
Hmm.
And yes, it's true. Now that you mentioned that my parents used to work at night. So when they came back from work, I had already prepared dinner.
Right.
And the one funny anecdote is that when I told my mother I was going to get married, the question she asked is, "Who's gonna cook now?"
That's funny. On that, I'm going to stop with one other addendum that folks, I will see me looking down every now and then, and I keep a pegboard, which right now is pretty much blank. I have a mind like a sieve. So I will make notes. So it's not that I'm distracted or I'm falling asleep. It's just that I'm trying to keep up to myself in terms of the dialogue. Now, you said you enjoy cooking. When did you start? How did you discover that? I don't believe that when you were 2.5 years of age, they allow you to near the fire to cook and say, oh, I love this. How did that come about?
Not that young, but I was young when I started like trying. Probably on Sundays, I remember
Excuse me,
my
about what age were you when you began that? You're trying, you say?
these trials, I have to say, it was for sure before 10,
Okay,
before because I remember that 10 we moved to another house. So in the previous house, let's say I was probably 8 and my brother was 6.
okay.
And on Sundays we woke up and my parents were still asleep. So we wanted to give them surprises and we
Ooh,
tried to cook on Sundays.
right.
Something that was not like using fire or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
raw things. But what happened is that we realized, like when we were older, that that was disgusting.
Right.
And my parents just ate it, saying, delicious.
Interesting. Now, I gotta ask this question in terms of cooking in the morning. Rephrase that. When I was a kid, young, Christmas was always a favorite time. I'd be up at 3 in the morning looking for packages. Now, were you cooking at when you were 8 years of age because you enjoyed it, you were hungry, you wanted to eat, you got to cook something? What was the flow on that? Did you have to? Yeah.
I think it was more because, first of all, because now we know both of us like cooking, like
Right.
my brother and myself. And I think he does it better than me. But when we were at that age, we were alone on a Sunday morning, and the
Right.
kitchen is what for us was like we wanted to investigate
Oh,
and do trials. So
okay.
we put together some elements that are not like the best combination, I would say. Like, for example, sweet and savory. Oh, because we thought it was like a gourmet. Well,
Right.
it's not always gourmet. It depends on what you combine.
Right. Fair enough.
So yes, and I think that is how we started. It's just we wanted to try ourselves, because when you are a kid your parents always cook.
Hmm.
So we started like that, and then over the years we started to cook more and more,
Hmm.
both of us.
Right.
At a certain point I started, yes, cooking for the family.
Hmm.
My mother also always did it as well, but she doesn't enjoy it,
Hmm.
and that's why at a certain point she said, it's okay, you can do it.
Well,
um,
that was very nice of her.
yeah, yeah, because when I was already a teenager, for her was like, oh my god, you take care, like it is
Hmm.
much better.
I hear
And
that.
that's how it happened. Yeah.
Okay. I get you made a comment that you and your brother would tend to investigate. You would try different things.
Mm.
And when you were cooking, was it like in your head, this is what you want to do, or would you sample during the course of your cooking? How would you decide? Or did you have in mind, well, today I'm going to cook a pot roast or scrambled eggs? What do we have in the house and let's work with that? What was your technique?
I think it's more like, and it's something that I still do today. It's like
Mm-hmm.
more opening the fridge and see what I have. And
Okay.
then in my mind, I start like saying, oh, this combines with this and with this and with that. So why don't we put together this dish with this combination? Because
Right.
the good thing now, what happens in the present is that I buy the groceries. So that in my mind, that process happens when I'm buying. I
Right.
say like, oh wow, I think that if I take this and I combine it with this, so I buy with something already planned in my mind.
I understand.
Yes. So at that moment, I was not buying groceries, so I had to use whatever my mom had decided to put in the fridge.
I understand that. So I guess in some ways that might have been more of a challenge because, in all fairness, you can predetermine what you're going to cook when you're doing your own shopping. You're cooking with what's in the house. You're cooking with what's in the house. I get that totally. And
Exactly.
do you have a certain flavor style? My wife, my and I get don't want to refer back to me too much, but she likes to bake. I don't bake. I like to. I prefer to cook. Do you have a preference one way or the other on that?
I prefer to cook as well,
Mm-hmm.
other than bake. And first of all, because that is what I like eating. I always say that I also cook because I like very much to eat.
Okay.
So I prefer to have a decision on what I'm gonna eat, and that's why I do it myself.
Fair.
What happens is I always did savory meals
Mm-hmm.
until I met my husband, and my mother-in-law, she cooks very well,
Right.
and she introduced me to baking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started baking as well.
Okay.
I'm very lucky that my husband loves cooking as well. So we both together complement, and we love entertaining friends and cooking for them. And
Good.
yeah.
Now I find that intriguing. As I said, and again, it's not about me, folks. My wife is a baker. I'm a cooker. We can't tolerate being in the kitchen at the same time because we have different ways of how things are done.
I know.
And I will give a quick example. It's more me on her than her on me. I've learned that when I cook, I have if I might ask her sometimes, could you get the salt for me, or could you put oil in the skillet? So we'll have people over and they'll say, "This is a great meal," and I open my mouth to say something, and I hear voices. Thank you. Now I'm not a ventriloquist. I'm looking like around like, where's that voice coming from? It's my wife taking credit for my cooking. So did you guys have conflict in that or no? How does that work out for you guys in the kitchen at the same time?
Well, most of the time we split what we are gonna do when we
Okay.
are, for example, entertaining, because he has in his mind, I'm gonna do this, and that
Right.
is his recipe and his idea.
Right.
And then like most of the time I take care of the baking, because he does no baking at all. So we split that way.
Okay.
Now I am the one in the kitchen, for example, that I like. I use something and I put it in its place. So I always order it, and sometimes I'm putting things in its place, and he is like, "Where is the oil? I
Right.
put it there. Yes, but I didn't use it. So, um, okay. So that is where we are like, don't touch what I'm using.
I hear that. Okay, let's see. I feel so much better now. Thank you for sharing that that transparent moment in your style. Kumbaya in the kitchen, unless you have somebody who tells everybody else what to do, I could see it be a challenge, even then an issue. So you like savory. Why is that?
Because it's what I like eating. For some reason, I don't have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
And so when I was a kid, for example, I remember all the other kids at school were eating like candy and cookies and I don't know, some like honey flavor thing that is completely fake, of course, like bought in a key, like we say kiosk or drugstore. So, well, I was not one of those. If I had to choose, I prepare like a very good sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I used to go with my dad. He used to invite me, like in a coffee shop or something like that, to have like we call it submarine. Submarine is milk with a bar of chocolate inside, right?
Oh,
It's
interesting.
instead of being like the cocoa powder, is
Mm-hmm.
with a bar of chocolate. So
Okay.
hot milk. But the problem was, he said, "What do you want to eat?" And instead of saying like, "Oh, a pastry or something delicate," I said
Mm,
like a salami sandwich.
right. There must be some artistic value in there someplace I'm not picking up on.
So I always choose that the salami sandwich, like
Right.
totally, I'm being totally transparent
Sure.
with this submarine that was chocolate.
Ah, ulterior motive there. Okay, I get that.
You
I
see the
get
combination there?
no, but I guess but I'm still working on that part of it. Why do you like that? Let me ask. I'll come back to you on that. Salami and chocolate. Was it chocolate in the sandwich? Is it melted chocolate or the regular state room temperature chocolate?
Is like hot milk, and they serve it with this bar that you yourself put it inside and mix it.
Okay.
But for me, the favorite part was the sandwich. Like
Okay.
the chocolate was because I was a kid, and at that time I couldn't order like a coffee, for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Right.
When I grew, I started like drinking coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and but I still, if I have to choose, I always prefer savory, like a bagel with cream cheese, or my breakfast now is a toast with avocado and cheese.
Okay.
That is what my preference always.
I hear that. Is it the texture that you like? When you say a sandwich, I'm thinking of bread, I'm thinking of a certain crust, I'm thinking of a certain chewiness, or is there something completely different? I'm
For me, is I really like cheese. I eat a lot of cheese. It's like
okay.
more like anything the flavor. Now, yes, I do like combination of textures, like the toast in the breakfast, for example. I like it to be very like crispy,
Right.
and the combination with the cheese and the avocado is like I love it. But for me, the number one thing is flavor.
Flavors.
Hmm.
Now, do you have a type of flavor preference? Spicy, aromatic. I don't know enough about cooking to give more question format to that, but do you have a certain preference on that?
Well, I like a spicy. Yes, spicy or hot. I like that, and I like the combination of, for example, I do a lot combining like chicken with pineapple.
Mm.
So that's something sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Or for example, a salad. I use blue cheese and cranberries. So the sweet of the cranberry with the like a strong flavor of the blue cheese, I love it, or olives. So I like strong flavors,
Mm-hmm.
and and the point is I love discovering new flavors. So I'm still happy when I discover a new ingredient that I never tried before,
Right.
or some ethnic food. I'm happy that I live in a place where there is people from different countries,
Right.
and when I know I have now Indian friends that give me their recipes, and I'm happy to try them.
Hmm.
So I go to Amazon and I buy the ingredients, and I go to the grocery store and find. So I love trying new things that I never tried before.
I get that. Also, another question along that line, there are people, different styles of cooking, obviously. I get the sense about you that you like to contrast flavor as opposed to complement flavor. Am I correct on that?
Yes, I love the contrast. Um, I try to, for example, eat like a meat and
Right.
always having two things as a side. I mean,
Mm.
two sides.
Right.
And sometimes can be one of them like a vegetables, and the other one can be either a rice or a fruit, as I said
Hmm.
before. So the pineapple, and then the other side can be carrots.
Okay.
So or if the carrots are like with glacé, I love
Hmm.
like glacé carrots. So
Right.
that is sweet, and then the other thing can be more savory, combined with pork or with chicken. So yes, I prefer like the contrast always.
Okay. And I would think the danger of contrast, it's easy, I won't say easy, I hate the word easy when it comes to cooking well, but the risk of contrast flavors is you don't want one to overwhelm the other. There has to be a balance.
I know,
So are
yeah.
you, and I'm kind of asking more than telling. Now, do you taste your food as you're cooking, or is it something in your head? I think it's going to work out this way. Do you experiment? How many meals do you throw out? I mean, asking a lot of things in one breath.
I try it while I'm cooking, but in
Hmm.
my mind, I already know what I want to do.
I understand.
And most of the things I make them up. It's
Hmm.
not that I follow recipes sometimes when it's something that I really don't know how to cook.
Right.
But sometimes it's funny because I see a recipe and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Wait, I don't like that. I
Hmm.
will put something else.
I
So
hear that.
I take a recipe and I change it.
Okay. Now, when you're using seasoning you're not familiar with, do you smell the seasoning or sniff the seasoning before you use it in a given meal, or you go with the flow and see how it turns out?
No, I think that probably no, I don't try it so much. I use it, I try to investigate first,
Right.
but I have to admit that sometimes I bought some seasoning that I saw in the store and I thought it was amazing, and when I put it in the meal, I was like,
Mm,
unexpected. This was
fair
not.
enough. Well, I get that. I get that. And kudos to you and your husband to work through
Yeah.
that. I get that totally. Now, a commercial break here, folks. Again, for those who are seeing it for the first time, this broadcast, which is pre-recorded live, I don't. To rephrase, I used to do live, but they say if you pre-record it and kick it out later, you must indicate pre-recorded live. I'm lost on that because I've never heard of a pre-recorded dead presentation, so I'm not sure I have to emphasize that. But the point I'm making here is that when this does go out to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Alignable, that and it will be scheduled for 8 o'clock Monday mornings. Usually, there'll be an announcement made in these different platforms that uh, you'll be able to look and learn more about each of us. There'll be a description with the links, with the website, with things of that nature. So if you have questions, and I won't say want to use Luciana's service because we're now flowing into that just about, or my service. If you'd like to learn more about taking your hot seat challenge, discovering a part of your secret sauce, hopefully see why it's some value to go that path. If not, or yes, fine, but please share us, ask questions. We do audit your input, we share it back and forth. And more importantly, for myself in particular, subscribe to our program and share off with other people. Now, having said that, I tell people that what happens is we're going to go about 20 minutes plus or minus of dialogue. And usually what stops me, I'll show you the blank paper now, it's completely filled up with notes. So I have to stop talking and asking questions. I'm running out of space to make more notes here. So so far, I'm going to do a slight reflection here. And what I'm seeing is before I ask what's your current path of where you are, that a person that did cooking maybe out of necessity at a younger age, not quite admitting it. You're hungry, your parents work at night, you're up, we got to eat something. Let's go for it. I mean, that's how I read it. If you want to clarify that, fine. But that's where I stand for the moment. And that makes sense. But you took it on. And 8 years of age is decently young to take that responsibility up yourself, to start making it happen. I'm referring to my notes, and that's why I'm looking down. What I find intriguing, you took it on with a gusto, I might say, that it wasn't enough to cook a hot dog and bread. You actually cooked a meal that your younger brother would experiment with you. It didn't threaten or frighten you. You seem to take that on as part of the joy and or the challenge of what you're doing. And you seem to like to pull things together, that it's not a one item bowl of cereal on the table. It's multiple things, perhaps, and not doing it by necessity so much, but because you enjoy the creative side of it. Maybe the challenge of it also, which kind of goes in hand with being creative, I would think. You like, as you say, savory meals because it challenges the taste buds. You get some gratification as an experience in what you're doing. Uh, Cooking with more than one person in the kitchen at the time takes collaboration. It takes a lot of back and forth engagement. You got in part learned that with your brother as a skill in the back and flow side of it, but yet organized. That when you go shopping, old enough to do that, you would look at something, and I call it eye candy. Something will catch your eye, I'm assuming, and out of curiosity, you walk up to it, look at it, weigh it, maybe ask somebody, "What's this for?" or not, and you make a decision. I think I can use this for something, and that exploratory nature about you, if I'm right about that, I
Mhm.
find intriguing. And look at my notes again, and so you like the organization side of it, you like the exploratory side of it, and the outcome, the joy of the moment. And I think for you, the creating side of it points to an outcome that people will appreciate, of value and dialogue besides yourself. Am I far off in what I'm saying?
It's perfect. It's
Well,
perfect.
okay. Well, thank you. So, having said that, what got you in the path to what you're doing now? Share with us what you do and uh, how you got there. What did you get zapped by lightning and said, "I'm going to be"? What is your job description? What is your title?
Okay, so now I am a business owner. So I have a digital marketing agency.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I do now. And I've been almost 3 years doing
Right.
digital marketing for business owners, businesses of any size.
Mm-hmm.
But before this, what I did before, I well, this part that you mentioned before about like finding new things, I always had like a intrigue of what happens when I was younger, what happened in the back part of a hotel. When we
Mm-hmm.
went on vacation, you go to a desk and they give you a key and you go to a room. But you say like, I only see this, the lobby and the room, and I don't know what happens behind. And that's what pushed me to study hotel management. And I work in the hotel industry for 22 years, and I
Mm-hmm.
was very grateful for that. What happened is that I work in sales and marketing, and I work in revenue management. And in 2020, with the pandemic, I decided to shift. At that moment, all the hotels closed. I was working in hotel.
Mm-hmm.
That same year, I just had my last baby.
Wow.
So it was a perfect moment to not come back to the hotels, although I love it. But I wanted to do something on my own. And with my background, some marketing, some revenue management. I started thinking that I want to work with smaller businesses that I can make a bigger impact in their results, in what they get from their businesses. And started, like, as you said before, searching what I can do for them. And I found that digital marketing was the best thing that can bring results for them, and also is something that for the future is,
Can I interrupt?
yeah, of course.
Not many people know what digital marketing is. Could you describe
Yeah,
us non-industrial types, what that's about?
of course. So digital marketing is everything that has to do with the presence online of a
Hmm.
business
Okay.
and the communication between them and their ideal audience, right?
Right.
So what when I give an example of this is like I say, let's say tomorrow you open a restaurant and you have everything perfect, beautiful, the menu, you open the door and you just wait and for someone to come. So who's gonna come to your restaurant if you didn't tell anybody?
Right.
So that is where you have to do some kind of promotion. In
Hmm.
the past, that promotion was more like toward like radio, television, newspaper, magazine, billboard, things like that.
Right.
What happened is when internet appeared, many things started happening online. And what happens today is if you want to go to a restaurant, you just take your phone and start searching for restaurants before even moving from your chair,
Hmm.
right? Being
Right.
in your home. So if that restaurant is not appearing in front of you in your phone somehow, you will never find out about it.
Hmm.
And so that is what we take care for businesses. It's like a way of intercepting the path of your ideal client when they are searching for your services,
Right.
right? So we need to understand where they are searching for your services. Um,
Right.
there are many things. It's not the same if you are a plumber and someone is needing, like a plumber will search in Google most likely, but because you need it right now. There
Sure.
are other things that you don't need right now,
I hear
like a
that.
restaurant.
Can I share a thought on that?
Yes.
As I hear you talking about your digital marketing technique and you talk about getting the information out to your audience, if they don't know that you exist, they're not going to buy from you. And I think of walking, say, along a street in a busy commercial environment, and you get all of a sudden the aroma of somebody, a restaurant area, and you get the aroma of food, of cooking. You say, wow, that is a good aroma. To me, for example, you walk by a place that makes bread. The aroma of bread is just a phenomenal concept. So what I'm hearing here is how you approach this, that you pull things together. Uh, the challenge of it is intriguing. It's fun for you. You want to create a metaphorical aroma that people will notice, that they will grab at them, whether they're thinking about that or not, whether they're looking or not. And it's so appealing that they'll say, I really prefer to go with this aspect. And I think this is
Mhm.
important to make a note of, that anybody can say they're good at what they do. Anybody can say they were trained at what you do. But I see here's a legacy of somebody from the age of at least 8 years of age. I still think it for survival initially, but at some point you begin enjoying what you did. You took it with good heart. Let's say it like that. And
Mhm.
rather than minimize what you had to do, you maximized it. And you
Mhm.
made it a challenge. You enjoyed it. And you talk a lot about aromatic. You talk a lot about it has to grab at you to feel good. And I suspect that's what you do in your business also. And if I'm right about that, it's something that is a legacy for you. It's a lifetime aspect of who you are, as
Mhm.
opposed to you took skill, you took training, and anything of that nature. And again, am I far off on what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, you are totally right. It's like that's why I feel that now I can work with more businesses and make an impact on their results. That at the end of the day is whatever the goal they wanna
Hmm.
reach. It can be growing their businesses. It can be having more free time for themselves. It can be going on vacation often, and
Hmm.
so anything. That's why I like to see their businesses as a whole
Hmm.
instead of just saying, okay, this is what you have to do to sell your services or your business. It's not the idea. Is let's talk about your goals and find something custom for you.
That sounds good. And again, I would suggest, from my perspective, that it's not a matter of you're doing it because that's the schedule and routine or protocol of what you do. You take it, I see you take it on as a passion
Mhm.
because this is who you are. That you're
Yes.
cooking that meal. It has to be aromatic. It has to be good. It has to be organized. It has to be appealing to have any value. And that's what I'm hearing about what you do. I think this has been a great, great session. I think we've had fun with it. And I don't know. I usually ask, would you like something to close this out? We only got 14 minutes plus or minus. I'd like to stop on time. But again, I will remind people, review the disclosure or discussion part of this presentation. The date of the actual occurrence will be announced in the social media platforms I talked about, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Alignable. Thank you very much, folks. I, Joe Wesley, am going to sign off. And on behalf of my guest, what was your name again?
Luciana Salanitri.
There you go. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Joe. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for being a guest. I appreciate it. So long, folks. Oops. I said oops. In recording.